Hi everyone, I'm Kevin from Entrepreneurs Book Club, and today I want to share with you my top 3 takeaways and tips from Rework, and this book was written by Jason Fried and David Hansson. So I decided to start doing things a little bit differently for this channel. Instead of going through a regular old book review, and that's kind of boring to me and probably to you guys too, instead I'm going to offer the top tips and takeaways from each one so that it can maybe help you brainstorm ideas for your business too, because ultimately what this channel is about is to help us grow as entrepreneurs in our journey and improve, right? So I'm going to do that for this book, give you 3 tips that could help you out in your business, and also at the end, give a little bit more high-level thoughts about who this book is best for and if I liked it or not. Okay, so tip number 1 I learned from this book is sell your byproducts of your business. So not your main products, which obviously you're selling, but also the byproducts that comes from making your business. Let me give you a couple examples. Number 1 is let's say you're running a wood shop, you do a lot of chopping wood, sawing wood, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, you have a lot of sawdust because of that. And instead of just throwing that sawdust and letting it go to waste, you can think of who might find that sawdust useful and sell it to them for extra money. Another really good way for maybe more internet businesses, which many of you guys may run, is, for example, when you're setting up your infrastructure for your business and doing some stuff that takes a lot of time, you could film that, you could record that, and then maybe use that as a course per se to how to set up your marketing infrastructure. And people might buy that and sign up for your course because they want to learn all the various steps and all the buttons they need to click to set up different tools and the concepts behind it too. So that's tip number 1, sell your byproducts. Now tip number 2 is quite interesting, and that is don't plan that much. And this really made me think because the authors mentioned that planning and estimating stuff is an impossible task really. You can't even estimate stuff that happens today, estimate the traffic, estimate how long your trip to the mall will take, right? So how can you estimate stuff months or years in the future? That's why they say that business plans, they don't really like them that much and don't find that much value. I have a little bit more nuanced opinion on this. I think business plans could be useful just to think through the process, think through your customers, your marketing, your sales processes and so forth. But obviously don't stick to them too closely, and also don't expect for that to be how things are going to turn out, because the market can change, some competitor may come and completely dominate and change everything, and that would make your business plan predictions and forecasts go out the window. And so that's what he says. Don't let planning lull you into a false sense of comfort, and also don't let it keep you from actually taking action one step at a time, one step forward. Focus just on the next step instead of thinking about something way too far in the future, which may very well likely never come to pass. Tip number 3 for your business, and that is don't idolize workaholism. And that's something I have fallen victim to before too, to think that just because I'm working very hard, putting a lot of time and effort and hustling, that means I'm being successful or doing something good. But that's not really good, and that's what these authors argue because of a few reasons. A is because if you work a long time, that doesn't necessarily mean you're being efficient or adding a lot of value, right? You may just be putting a lot of value into low, repetitive tasks. And then also, if you look down upon your coworkers or your teammates for not working as much, then you may make them do the same as well. And that leads me to the next point, and that is, if you just work a long time, you get tired and you're less efficient, and you can't hit the ground running the next day, which is better if you don't idolize workaholism and instead work hard, of course, but also work smart. Look for ways to be efficient, and if someone else adds a lot of value in a small amount of time, that's totally fine as well. Okay, so I hope these 3 tips were helpful for you today. Like I said, let me know what you think about my new format where I give you the top tips, takeaways that I have from the book. Also just moving away from this old, boring, standard book review model that I've done in the past. Also, just on a higher level, a quick note about this book. These guys were kind of outliers and didn't do things the traditional way. They're the founders of a very popular software called Basecamp. It was a project management software, if I remember correctly, and they did things completely differently from the traditional VC startup model per se. And so this book is a really against the grain, debunking all the myths type of book. But I would say a lot of times they really try to force it in that mold and try to say everything was wrong with a conventional approach, but I don't necessarily agree with that a lot of the times. And also, they do offer dozens of tips but they're all like bite-sized packages in really small and quick chapters. And so they may not necessarily give as much color and examples and discussion around each one. And so I'd say this book is helpful as perspective for a beginner entrepreneur or a first-time startup founder. Definitely read it early, but it's definitely one you should skim through, not one of the more transformative ones I read before. In terms of all the books I've read in the business world, I would rank this below average. Thank you guys for watching. This is Kevin. I hope this was helpful. If you like this content, please smash that like button, subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time.